Hello and welcome to another episode of Tools and Track. In this one we're going under there. I found a puddle. A puddle under the car. Now it looks like it's coming from the clutch sleeve cylinder, but there are also drips coming from the bottom of the bell housing. Well, now we've had a little wipe down, let's go for a closer look. Seems to be very dry. Oh, there's a drip. Now, that is right up at sump level in front of the bell housing. So, let's give that a wipe, nip it up, and hopefully it's simple as that. Oh, no. Now, with them being quite tight, we have a new question. New question of what's causing the fault. As it appears that the oil seems to be coming from behind the splash guard, it's time to start taking the car apart. Now, hopefully, last time I took this out, it got hold of the push rod and disconnected it from the, from the arm, which meant taking the entire gearbox out to reattach it. So here's hoping that I can get it out this time without doing that. And with the last bolt out, eventually, I'll now remove this cover and start having a peek and see what we can see. The location of where this oil is coming from is currently eluding me. I'll maybe get some more tissue and give that a wipe up there, but nothing coming down the face of the flywheel, which looks clean. And if the face of the flywheel looks clean, well, it doesn't seem to be coming from the crank seals, doesn't seem to be coming from the gearbox. Now, as it seems to be that it's the gasket at fault, because there's no leaks from anywhere else, as you'll see in my previous video, we're going to drain the oil, remove the sump, change the gasket. we're off. And there you have it. Now that the sump's off, a few things you can see. This is the oil pickup. There's a gauze in there, just to make sure it's not picking up any dirt from the bottom of the engine. You'll see the dipstick coming down here. Everything looks okay with them at the moment. It's not obviously the cause of the leak, but there's no harm in looking and checking while you're here. What I can see at the top here is a possibility of a ridge where the oil has seeped through. I'll take the gasket off now and see what we can see underneath. It all feels okay. There's a slight change in height on this side. There's also a very light, looks like some old silicone that's not been cleaned off after the last change. Again, could all be possible causes. There's a little step on this side. One more bit of advice is when you're changing oil or anything like that, you've had the sump plug out, there is a crushable washer on here. Little copper thing. Sometimes with a nip up you can use these 2 or 3 times, but always a good advice to change. So once you've got the washer off, it's kind of flat looking, as you can see there. So once the washer's off, we've got a nice shiny new one here. That'll go on and it should do the job lovely. See, a lot more shape to it. And we shall nip that up properly. Once it's back on, we can get the right amount of pressure onto it. Now, while the sump's off, always a good idea, give it a good clean down, give it a good wipe round, make sure all bits and pieces, any debris, any other parts that might be causing it is nice and clear. Now again, round here there's a little skim sealant or something on there that's previously been there. So what we'll do is we'll get a knife and we'll clean that off. Much better. Much smoother, much better. Now what you could also do is check for any dings or dents to make sure it's fairly level. Now there are various types of gasket. The one I've just taken off, which is almost paper, cardboard construction. It's not bad. It seemed to be quite good apart from where it was leaking at the back. But of course, always good to bin them. There are cork gaskets. Again, they've been used for years. They do the job, but the danger being is if you tighten it too much, they tend to split a lot easier. So this time around, what I've gone for is a rubber gasket. Should take a bit more pressure, should also fill some of the holes and any gaps that may be still there, any imperfections, plus the little ridges that are in the bottom of the block there. Well, we have a little bit more access. I'm going to fit the splash guard back onto the front of the bell housing. Should make getting into it a lot easier. We'll get some of these bolts back in, especially this little pain in the neck one right up in the corner here. The one that we had to use various ratchets and various bendy bits for. All the bolts back in, check that they're tight enough. Right. Again, much easier to get into that one without taking the exhaust off. what I would probably say is give it another wipe down, make sure everything's clean, make sure it's all nice and clear. Again, taking care not to not drop obviously, but deposit anything within the bottom of the block. Right, what we do, we'll offer the sump up, bearing in mind we need to get past the pickup, chassis and everything else that potentially gets in the way. So, always handy to have at this point. Got a bolts handy, start putting some in. Love these glasses, by the way. And the best purchases I've ever bought. Means you can see exactly where you're looking. That doesn't make sense. You have the light exactly where you're looking, and it allows you to work directly underneath as well, without getting all the rubbish in your eyes. So once you've nipped up all the bolts, don't over tighten them because you've got the risk of splitting the gasket again, but work you around and make sure that everything is nice and tight. Again, being careful not to split the gasket. Next thing to do is get the clutch slave cylinder back on, to which I put a little bit of grease just in here to assist the push rod when you're pushing it into place. You get a little metal spacer and get this back down. And then we'll nip it up. And that should be that. Right, time to top the engine back up. Obvious ones, remove oil cap. Nice funnel to help it out. This one has a gauze in it to catch anything that's possibly in the oil or anywhere else. Also a good idea. We'll get that in the filler. We'll get some nice oil. And we'll start topping up. While you're filling, it's always a good idea, keep checking the dipstick to see. Now, not clear, but that's only just over the bottom line, so we shall keep pouring. As you'll see, bottom level and top level. What we really want is somewhere halfway to full. Now that, I'm not sure if it picks up on camera, is right about here. So again, just past the halfway mark. Could probably go a little bit more, which we'll do just now. Now we're finished under here. It makes sense that while the car's on the stands, we'll go and check the drivetrain oils. Check the gearbox, we'll check the diff, and we'll show you how to check the levels. While we're here, we will check the gearbox oil level. 30mm spanner onto the square end. Now, once it's out, now normally to check a level you'd have a little dribble coming out of there if you know it's just up to level. What we'll do is we'll put a bit more oil in it and we'll get it right up to level, and you'll see what I mean. With the bottles that you get supplied with gear oil, as you can see, getting that in there is virtually impossible. So what we've got is a nice big syringe, which I'll show you in a second. What we can do is we take the top right off of this and we use this little thing, which is basically a giant syringe with a hose onto the end, nice and tight, very tight. And once it's on there, into the oil, suki, and careful not to dribble as you take it back out. So we'll now get this under the car with this hose into the gearbox and all we need to do is push it in until it dribbles out. So with the hose, we dip that into there, like so, and we start squishing until we see oil dribbling out. Oh, it's just starting to dribble now. We've got a little bit more, and here it comes. So again, while it's dribbling out, get the fill plug back in there, and we'll nip that up again with a 13mm spanner. So, same as the gearbox, there's no way we're getting the spout up from the bottle. So we take the top off and we use this again. As you can see, the drain plug for the diff is easily accessible. The fill plug, on the other hand, not so much. So what we'll need for the job is a set of water pump pliers. So with the water pump pliers, we can just sneak in there and start to turn it. So to get this in, I've had to go around the back of the chassis, up over the top and into the fill hole. So now we start putting oil in. Same as the gearbox. If you see a dribble coming out, then we know it's full enough. Now it's filled, we know it's up to the nice level. Go back in with the water pump pliers and tighten it up again. Right, so let's try it. Oil pump, fuel pump primed. Come on, there we go. Oil pressure's up, looking good. Idle will be a bit lumpy to start with, just till she warms up. Checking all the usual spots. Everything looks okay, and now we're up to temperature. Check it again for any leaks. All looks nice and dry. Of course it's nice and warm as well now. So it's all looking good.